a release date for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and more in today's Microsoft Flight Simulator news. Stick around. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
As we fly.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is on the arrival. Now, by saying arrival, that doesn't mean it's right around the corner. We're actually looking at a release date finally of November the 19th of 2024. So an official date has finally been published. Now, in the latest trailer, it shows an incredible amount of new information and scenery objects that we have not seen in flight simulation before without third-party add-ons. So this is an incredible development from Microsoft and Asobo in regard to what they are bringing. We have a ton of stuff coming, everything from ATC chatter to new environmental effects, new missions and career modes, if you will, new animations and features that are all going to be built directly into the simulator. They are certainly taking advantage of everything that they've learned from both themselves and the third-party applications in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Some of the things that we're going to be able to look forward to is like air ambulance, aerial advertising, VIP charter services, agriculture aviation, so crop dusting if you will, search and rescue, helicopter cargo transport, remote cargo ops, as well as aerial firefighting. That is probably the one that I am the most excited about, to have an actual fully supported aerial firefighting. That's going to be a hard one for me to argue with. That's going to be a lot of fun. Here you can see an advantage or a depiction of the search and rescue, as well as some of the other options that are going to be around. This is going to be incredible. They are truly bringing the world to life. I am super excited for this. Obviously, guys, I am not going to hold back any information or thoughts on to how I feel about what to expect from 2024. I think on the initial release, it's certainly going to be just like 2020. It's going to be plagued with bugs. There's going to be a lot of issues. Hopefully, a lot of those things that we saw in 2020 are mitigated and that everything that we see is new. But they are taking the flight simulation environment to a whole new level and really bringing the simulation experience to life. This is going to be, in my opinion, probably the greatest undertaking that we have seen yet in flight simulation across any other platform that currently exists in the market today. Now, that's why I say that this brings up a lot of possibility for bugs and things like that. But the other thing that this is really going to show us is what we can really do with the simulation experience. With Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, let's talk about some of the environmental effects. One of the things that they have promised previously is that the areas outside of the major cities are going to be far more detailed. Things like the Grand Canyon, more bush trip experiences are going to have a much more realistic scenic view to them. So you're going to actually be able to see how do I put this? We're going to be able to do far more sightseeing in Flight Simulator 2024 than we can do currently with 2020. With the overall experiences we're seeing here with things like the aerial advertising, as well as I think I'm going to be more keen to things like the search and rescue, seeing the animation, things like that. I'm telling you right now that the simulator is definitely going to be far more cloud dependent. So something that you're going to want to be thinking about is things like internet speed and internet capacity. If you're on a limited internet quantity, if you will, that's probably going to be something you're going to want to think about as we move into 2024. But certainly very, very exciting times coming along, guys. Again, November the 19th of 2024, we will see Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 on our desks. So stay tuned for more information as it becomes released. Next up, a major update to GSX Pro. Now, I know this is a very controversial application. Many people either love it or hate it. There seems to be not really much in between. But one of the things that they've added in their latest update, version 3.0, is they've added animated passengers boarding and seating, starting with the Phoenix A320, as well as you guys can see airline uniforms and crew. So how does this all sort of work out? Let's talk about this for a second. just to sort of get rolling. We will be demoing this here on the channel later in the week, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that happen. With the doors open, as you guys can see, passengers will load. They'll find their seats. They're also fully animated with things like tablets and books and things like that to keep them busy and occupied. However, once the cabin door is closed and once the aircraft is seated, the passengers seated, they become one with the plane. So therefore, performance is restored at that point. As you guys can see what they're sort of doing there. Watch as the passengers sit. You can sort of see that their textures change and they just become a part of the actual cabin texture. So you don't have to worry about any kind of performance loss or anything like that once you are airborne up and moving. So really, this is strictly just a cosmetic feature is what this is. If you're looking for something that really brings an immersive experience, you want to hear passengers boarding, you want to see your flight attendants doing their jobs, you want to sort of experience that whole process within inside of the aircraft. The other thing is if while passengers are boarded or unloading, if you close the cabin door, they will automatically complete the process one way or the other. So that also saves in performance and time if that is something you wish to interrupt. However, there's a bunch of other things that have been added with the latest changelog. So obviously we have seated passengers with initial support only for the Phoenix A320 at this time. You also have a new and boarding and deboarding voices with multiple accents and greeting variations based on the time of day. So good evening versus good morning and things like that. Parking positions when pushback has been disabled are indicated with a menu sign now that says no pushback. The last GSX airport profile loaded is now stored to support possible integration with third-party ATC products such as Beyond ATC, as well as say intentions. Pilot object names are now saved to ensure pilots deboarding on arrival on the same boarded or on departure aircraft. The WASM modules have also been recompiled to support the latest SU-15 update. Airplane variations not recognized when going back and forth from the main menu has been fixed. There's also been an error fix when requesting refueling when there are issues with the EIA website, as well as passenger walk-in boarding not working correctly when the stand or at stands where passenger buses are set to deboarding only. That has also been resolved. An error with editing de-icing areas. Miltech objects bug has also been fixed, as well as a bunch of others. So they've done far more than just dealing with or adding the passengers. And there's also a ton of new versions supporting new airports and global locations around the world. So again, that is GSX Pro version 3.0. If you guys are interested in checking out the latest release, sounds like they put quite a bit of work into it and are still continuing to develop that. All right, next up, you guys, we have an amazing new product from FlightSim.com. This is absolutely fantastic, and I'm super, super excited to share this with you guys because I actually am getting a copy of one of these where I get to review it with you guys. This is the CLS 60 Force Feedback Yoke. Now, here's what separates this from everything else, you guys. The next option up for good force feedback yoke is probably about double this price here. Okay, you're probably looking at somewhere in the area of anywhere between $1,400 and all the way up to $4,000 is what I have been able to find online. So the fact that we are now having a very, very nice looking, very, very realistic, very, very authentic feeling and weighted force feedback yoke for flight simulation at a fairly reasonable price. Guys, before anyone jumps on the, oh, that's just ridiculous, right? Look it up. It is expensive beyond this. It takes a lot. It's intense. Now, I have not got my hands on it yet, but it should be shipped and on our way to us this week. So I'm very, very excited to be able to get you guys a review of this. The other thing is, for those of you who are going to the Flight Sim Expo 2024, Fabian and the team will be there showing this product off as well. Now, they have a couple of different options here. So first off, you have the CLS 120 and you have the CLS 60. Now, the other thing they have here are these FC50 and the FC100 flight panels. These are absolutely phenomenal looking, you guys. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to these, but again, you guys can see that they are going very realistic with this. They're very, very large. This is definitely going to be something that's more for a dedicated simulation pit. So if you are someone who's just looking to really stick to the die-hard flight simulation, you really want to dive into a specific aircraft, you really want to get into your training or practice modes, this is a great, great tool to do it. And again, I challenge you guys to go look for other stuff just like this with the same quality, the same kind of configuration, and compare compare the prices, they are way below what the rest of the market is. So this is a very nice and very welcomed addition to the flight simulation community. It sort of goes back to what Pimax did with VR. You know, with the Pimax Crystal Light, we now have a $700, very nice, very high quality VR headset, and now we're getting, for the same price range, a very high quality yoke. Now, the one thing that I will tell you guys is that I do know for a fact is that these are very long. They are large. They are not particularly small. It's not going to be something that you're probably going to want to be moving back and forth. But I'm going to hold off any further than that until I have the unit in hand. Again, it is coming our way. We are going to be able to showcase this on the channel, but I wanted to make sure to give them a big shout out of this. You guys can see that they are still in the pre-order phase. If you guys are interested in checking that out, you guys can see what they're sort of going with. Make sure you guys come down to the page. I'll have a link to this website down in the description below for you guys to check out. But this is absolutely fantastic. Mark over at the Sim Hanger, I know for one, has already done a review of his copy of this. Make sure you guys check it out. He did a very awesome job. He was just as pleased with it as I am excited for it. Again, he's another very solid reviewer who does a very good job being very straight to the point and leaving no stone unturned. He's very fair with his reviews. So again, that's Mark over at the Flight Sim Hanger. Make sure you guys check that out, or Sim Hanger, excuse me. Make sure you guys check out his channel if you haven't already. Finally, last up on the list, you guys, we are approaching Flight Sim Expo 2024 in Las Vegas, June 21st through the 23rd, over at the Rio Hotel. If you guys are interested in going, make sure that you guys check the link down the description below. It will take you to a site where you guys can register for the expo. They have a ton of very great activities that are already being filled up very rapidly, so make sure that you guys check this out very quickly. You're going to have a bunch of seminars and things like that are going on Friday. I may be joining them up on the stage there for a few hours. We'll see. I will know more information on that tomorrow, but I'm trying to make that work out for us as well. They have a very awesome schedule that you guys can take a look at. You guys can see what's going on. I can tell you guys right now that I have been to the Flight Sim Expo twice so far, once in Houston and once previously in Las Vegas over, I believe it was at the Flamingo Hotel, and they are an absolute blast. It is far more, you guys, than just going around checking out the new hardware and drooling over things that maybe some of us can't afford, like yours truly. It is a great time to sit back and just get to kick back with like-minded folks. They always have some great meals and things like that are around, and it's a ton of fun. You get to learn a whole lot about flight simulation. You get to meet a ton of new developers. You get to see what's coming down the road. You get to ask a bunch of questions that maybe you don't have. They have breakout projects and things like that. There's options to build your own simulation boxes. They teach you things about scenery and scenery development if that's something that you're interested in. It's far more than just checking out the latest hardware and software. You get a really great opportunity to dive deeper into flight simulation than maybe you have yet thus far. So, as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Stay safe and healthy, and I will see you in the next one.